they took you to it.
They took me there. I did not go all the way up to the hole, but there was conversations between the Native Americans and the Basque and blah blah blah, and they basically agreed that everything was as it should be. That I wasn't from CNN or the FBI or the CIA or whatever.
Right.
And so I went there, and I got to see the hole.
Tonight on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell and his guest, Mel Waters, and the story of Mel's Hole, the bottomless pit in Washington State.
Trinity, RedOrBluePill, HiHoKermitTheFrogHere. Come with me, and you'll see a world of pure magic.
Across from me over here is the actual roadway into Mel's Hole. Don't go up that road. Up there a ways is a fence, but you get across that fence, you're in a deep bunch of trouble. It might be that you simply disappear, period.
This is quite the story, and a very deep rabbit hole, and a deep dive. So I hope that you're ready to explore.
But the story goes that the government has an extreme interest in it and has something to do with extraterrestrials or UFO crafts.
And I said, no, hurry it up, dude. This is a long hole. So down. And he lands at the bottom. He said, my God, Dracilians. I says, oh, fine, you made it. And these blizzard people could sense somebody was there. And they went for him. And he started flying up the hole and yelling all the way, Red Oak, they're right here, they're right behind me, Red Oak. Anyway, we got up here and I said, let's get the hell out of here. And we filled rubber.
It's Art and his guest, Mel Waters, talking about Mel's Hole. And now, the best of Coast to Coast AM.
And Mel, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. When did you discover this hole?
Well, the hole has always been there. We've been out there for a couple of years now, and the hole has been there since we've been there. It's been there since the previous owner was there. And the previous owner there was quite elderly, and I'd say he was there for a good 30, 40 years before we moved in.
Wow.
And then...
and so there's been a thing of throwing stuff down this hole for a long
time. It's been going on, for as long as the hole has been there, I assume. The people from around there throw all the stuff in the hole, and it's just been going on for a long time. Well, I got to thinking one day, how come this hole is not filling up? It must be an awfully deep hole. I used to be a professional shark fisherman, so I had a couple of huge fishing reels, went out there and started letting the line down. I figure after one...
Did you weight the line?
Oh, yeah. There's in fact, the original line is still down there. I've just been adding to the line and keeping track of how much line I have used.
There is a tremendous amount of naturally generated high-voltage electricity deep in the earth. What if the bottom of the hole on Mel's property is a naturally occurring focal point, a lot like the device that Mr. Markham built? The Earth could have its own, in effect, time machine. Over the centuries, through various quakes and so forth, all of the soil above the portal would have fallen into the bottom and been launched into some other time. This explains the lack of echoes and the apparent depth of the hole.
Well, didn't you have somebody talk about they're drilling like these huge deep holes in Russia or something like that?
Absolutely. Say they're volcanic vents or whatever.
Could be.
It could be, but still, at 80,000 feet, no bottom of the hole. Now, this hole exhibited some, lack of a better term, paranormal aspects.
Well, yeah, and I believe what I had noted was that, my dogs wouldn't have anything to do with it. They wouldn't go anywhere near it.
Right.
That's the depth of the hole. So he and his friends placed a sheep into a crate. They lowered it into the hole, and approximately 1,500 feet, at which the sheep just became silent. And then the crate began to vibrate. So when they pulled it up, the sheep was no longer alive, and it appeared to be cooked from the inside out. They took it for an autopsy, and this is when they discovered a tumor-like glob, and it seemed to be moving as if something was pushing out from within. And they decided that the tumor needed to be cut open. And when they did that, what they described seeing what they called a seal with an umbilical cord attached to the tumor, with human-like eyes, which locked into theirs. Now, they are calling this an unclassified creature from the abyss, and that it was very eerie. And the silence was insane. They felt a connection of some kind, the need to get it back to that hole. So they took it back, and of course it jumped in. But before that, they believed they were communicating with some kind of interdimensional creature, and that hole was used for communication, and that the creature described itself as capable of traveling through worlds and had a dire warning to humanity. The creature warned of the use of weapons using the power of two holes, and that if we harnessed that power for military purposes, we would destroy ourselves. It said that the other beings on the planet were waiting for our destruction so that they could come in and reset our planet. After the most strange and shocking broadcast.
Now, the best of Coast to Coast AM.
Holy mackerel, Mel.
And we could see the seal moving his eyes, and I'm calling it a seal, okay, but I have no idea what the heck this thing is, okay? I'm calling it a seal. But it's opening his eyes, it's closing it, the flippers are moving, it's still connected to its tumor there. And then I noticed that it seemed to be studying us. It seemed to be looking at us. That was the feeling I got. It seemed to be regarding us while we were looking at it. And so that's the feeling I got off of the seal. And then this thing separated from the tumor without our assistance. We thought, well, maybe we'll cut this thing free.
Right there on the table.
It's right there, and it moved about a little on the table.
Yeah.
So we're all standing back at that point because this thing is loose,
I'd be way back.
And we're watching this seal, and again, that's the only way I could describe it because it looked like a seal to me.
Human eyes.
And then I felt, I just felt I was in the presence of something extraordinary, something beyond extraordinary, something like, I don't know. I'm not a religious man, but it felt in that category of having a religious thing there. This was just such a stunning thing to witness.
Well, something that far from our understanding would appear to be magic or religion or whatever you want to call it, I'm sure. Yeah, so what God's name happened to this thing?
Well, we left it there, and it began to, it just kind of looked at us there, and, one of the Basques suggested we kill it, and, just kind of club it, and unfortunately, and,
Is that what they did?
No, basically cooler heads prevailed. The thing was moving around on a table, and it finally moved to the edge of the table.
Yeah.
It was kind of like struggling, but it got to the edge of the table.
Yeah.
And it looked like it was going to fall off.
Right.
So I go up to it at this point because I'm just like out of my head with I don't know what I'm in the presence of. And it looked directly at me when I got up to it, and it seemed, it seemed to have a contact with me. And I got this compelling feeling to pick it up and place it on the ground. And I did that. I took this thing and I put it on the ground by a table.
Yeah.
My hands were slimy from the seal because it had like this goo that was not only in the cavity but also inside the tumor. And I'm just calling it a tumor because I have no vocabulary for this.
Right.
And I just moved my hands past my face before I decided to wipe them off on the rag at the table there.
Right.
And it smelled like ozone.
Like ozone smells like? Ozone, of course I do, yes.
That's what it smelled like because I thought it would be some like sort of weird organic-y smell.
Yeah.
Some sort of like disgusting. I just thought it would smell disgusting. It smelled like ozone.
Okay.
So this thing is lying on the ground, and we're all looking at this thing here, and it's like looking at each of us in turn.
In other words, intelligently.
Yes. We must have been there just absolutely transfixed by this, I'll call it a creature now, for like 2 hours.
What was it doing during those 2 hours? I mean,
studying each one of us.
It wasn't moving around that much?
Just its head. Because we had gathered, this cowardly, but a safe distance away from it, but not too safe, So we could easily see it, and they could easily see us.
This bizarre geographic anomaly, some believe, is a gateway to another dimension. This legend has also been dubbed Devil's Hole. And it goes back decades, if not centuries. And the public at large did not become aware of this phenomenon until 1997. Other strange things began to happen. Paranormal, mysterious, unexplained sounds and frequencies, and no animals wanted to get near it. There has been so many stories.
I'm driving up to my property, and even before I get anywhere near the property, I'm met by basically uniformed people who are telling me that there was a plane crash on my property, that they have to investigate and clear the accident, and that I'm, not to, they will let me know when I can come back.
Now, bear in mind, everybody, this was immediately after our broadcast.
Yeah. This is almost...
Nobody knew about the hole until the broadcast. Immediately after the broadcast, next day he goes back and they're giving him this plane crash trash.
And, I said, I'm not dummy. I'm looking around. I don't see any smoke. I don't smell any smoke. And I didn't see any evidence of what would be a plane crash. So I'm pretty much believing they're handing me a bill of goods.
They scare you the hell away. Then how did you come to make a deal with the government? How did that happen?
I have a hard time figuring out what led around here. Basically, I wasn't going to back off. I was talking to the press. You are the press, Art Bell. And so what they did is offer to lease my property from me in perpetuity for a very healthy sum of money. And I'm talking like $250,000 a month to have use of the property. Yeah, that's $3 million a year.
That's a lot of money.
And I had agreed for them to let me relocate.
Yes, and just having a nice life.
Combing my beard and all that stuff.
So what the hell happened?
That's with me.
They sent you. Did they send you the money?
Oh yeah, it appeared regularly in my account. I got the money, Johnny on the spot.
Well, this has been quite the deep dive and rabbit hole. Thank you for watching till the end. I'm going to wrap it up with Red Elk. He's going to tell you what his father had showed him a while back and what he knows from this experience.
There are people down there, alien people to us, that were here even before man. They cannot stand our weather. They can't stand the sunlight or the cold. Their planet they come from is a desert planet, so they live underground. And in this time and age, there's going to be some real interaction, and they want to control us as slaves, as food, as sex items. Doesn't matter if they're male and you are either, I guarantee you. They know it all. They sit there on their chairs, those wonderful people, and they won't get their butts out to look for themselves.
There are so many more stories that I did not share that were on the Coast to Coast radio broadcast when Mel called in about this deep hole on his property. I'm curious what you think. Have you heard about this before? Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this deep dive and rabbit hole. Thank you for watching till the end, your financial support, and just sharing my videos and my channel, which is absolutely free, in the thumbs up. Humongous hugs, high fives, and good vibes. Trinity, RedOrBluePill. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.